Hey everybody, I would like to be welcoming you to a new episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd, but due to a technical mishap last night, I lost roughly an hour's worth of video to a file corruption. Um, and it sucked because it was a really good episode, and I was going to reshoot it, but I got so fired up during the episode. You know how I get sometimes where I'll get really into it, and because that happened, I just really didn't feel like trying to fake it a second time. I know that sounds kind of weird, and I apologize to all you folks, especially after how awesome last week's episode was with the Warzone talk. Um, I just really I got really upset with my computer last night, and I'm not sure what happened. Hopefully, it was a one-off, and it's not something I gotta watch out for in the future. But uh, yeah, it's just I don't have a whole lot to say about what happened. Uh, it was gonna be a good episode, and I'm sure one day I'll redo it and be just as fired up as I was last night. But between regular work and Father's Day this weekend and a few extra projects that kind of fell into my lap, um, I am swamped, and I don't want to. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I don't have an episode for this week. This is basically my episode for this week. It's my apology for not having an episode this week. Um, a lot of really cool stuff going on. I do want to take at least a half a second to kind of hat tip to a few different things that I had mentioned in the previous video. The one that didn't happen that made me so angry. Yeah. Um, the My buddy Ash Barker from Gorilla Miniature Games. Um, he and his guys released a very cool book called Blaster Volume One through Drive Through RPG. I'm gonna put the website link for you to really get a hold of it in the description. Um, what it is basically a collection of either small kind of independent one-off pocket games or expansions for games that he and his guys are responsible for. Things like Frostgrave and Relic Blades and stuff like that. That have new ways to play, alternate modes. It's really cool. I especially for, I think it's $20 for the PDF and like $30 if you want to buy it, print on demand. Super worthwhile, and he said that it's doing really well, and if it does really really well, they're already going to look at trying to set up a volume 2. So if you're into kind of games you might want to give a try, or if you already follow Ash and you want to grab uh, grab a couple of things for one of his games, you should probably do so. It's well worth the support. Big thing for me right now, aside from my study work, is the Tome of Monstrous Might just went to Kickstarter. Will be for the next 30 days or so, and it's already blasted past its goal. It's doing great. But myself and a bunch of creatives from the industry are making a collection of D&D 5e monsters and monster player character races, and alternate ways to play existing things, some plot lines. I mean, it's going to be a really really cool book from Total Party Kill Games, and Bryan is the head over there. Um, Super jazzed about that, and if you are into D&D, or honestly if you're just into kind of fantasy role playing, I would take a look at this book. It's not very expensive, hardcover, full color, and it would give you an opportunity to add a bunch of cool stuff that your players won't know about or recognize. And if you don't play D&D, even if you play Pathfinder or an older version of D&D or RuneQuest or some other fantasy game, you could still use a lot of those ideas and a lot of those monster types and stuff as a way for you to surprise your players in your existing games. You might not be able to use the same stats, but at least a fire breathing goblin thing is probably a fire breathing goblin thing in any game. But you might figure out your own stats depending on what game you're using. But even then, it's filled with cool inspirations, lots of really good art. And like I said, there's still like a month left on the Kickstarter. There's still a lot of stuff that Bryan has planned to unlock for this book. I'm excited because I love being parts. I loved having my short story in the Weird Wild West anthology. I love being part of collections. I love being part of a greater team because that way the whole book has like you can see different feels in different writers and things. Like you get all this you get a smorgasbord of industry design in one tome. So I'm definitely gonna put the link to that in the description. You should absolutely throw some dollars at the Tome of Monstrous Might. Aside from that, again, I'm not gonna have a full episode today. I've got way too much to do, and with how my computer treated me last night, I can't risk having another full hour of video freak out until I know what's going on. So this is kind of this apology is kind of a test of the technical system as well. But I do want to go ahead and tell you how cool next week's episode is going to be. Because of how well having Alex on the show worked, I reached out to it's no secret lately I have been on TikTok making some gamer related content, and I sent a couple of gifts to a couple of people, and it's a fun little app, but it's actually got a pretty decent growing gaming and role playing game community on there. And a lot of it's cosplay, and a lot of it's lip syncing to just clips from videos, and there's a ton of Critical Role stuff on there, as you would expect. But there was one particular account that stood out to me when I just hopped on. And her name on TikTok, I believe, is Banana K, but her name is Amanda, and she is one half of what I call the D&D married couple. And they make videos on TikTok that are what it would be like if you had to make skill checks in day-to-day married life. And what it is that basically when they're running around doing things, they will call for each other to make a check, to make a persuasion check, to discuss getting a puppy, or, oh, hey, are you brushing your teeth? Make a performance check. Just silly things like that. And then they roll a d20 and see what happens. And then, depending on the result of the d20, they act out what happens. And it's hilarious. I fell in love with them immediately. I thought that it was super clever. It was entertaining, and in my opinion, far more creative than just cosplaying or lip syncing to some movie. So I reached out to Amanda, and I asked them if they would like to be on the show and kind of share their story and share how how important gaming is to them and that sort of thing. So well, this week is kind of a bummer because it's not much of an episode. It's just sort of me dropping a news brief and telling you, hey, sorry, my computer blew up at me yesterday. Next week is going to be fantastic. I'm actually going to have Amanda and her husband on the show. We're going to zoom in and chit chat for a while and talk about how gaming has affected them as just consumers, and get to know them, and hopefully maybe steer some love their way, because I really do, I appreciate good people doing good things within the industry, professionals or not. And I think that they are doing some really really cool stuff over there on TikTok, and um, I hope that maybe giving them a little more exposure and introducing them to you guys, to the viewers, may show them a little love too. Again, because as you know, I'm all about making sure that this whole gaming industry, freelance, what I do for a living, um, comes back and hopefully projects some positivity out into the world. And these guys definitely, they irradiate the kind of positivity that I love about our industry. So next week's going to be a great episode, and I hope that this week's bummer technical difficulty doesn't mess with us too much. So without further ado, I've got to get back to the regular grind. Make sure that this video doesn't explode when I try and save it. And hopefully you'll see this here in a couple hours after I render it down. And definitely swing by next week to meet Amanda and her husband. So again, I'm very sorry that there's no video this week. My computer freaked out. New computer sometimes got some hiccups in it. But whatever the case may be, I hope you're having a good time out there. Have a happy Father's Day this weekend. Fathers, squeeze your kids tight. Single mothers, as you play the father in that role, you squeeze your kids tight too. And all the kids out there who have the dad or a father figure, or even just a really close friend that kind of fell into that niche, take them to lunch. Send them an email that says, "Hey, thanks for being there for me." Believe me, it's not about getting presents or anything like that, or grand gestures. It is about knowing that we've touched someone's life, hopefully in a lasting way and in a good way. So happy Father's Day out there to everybody this weekend, and enjoy yourselves, smile, stay safe, and play some games. See you next week.